Hello and welcome back to Cinematic Venom and happy Father's Day! Well, you've met my father, you've met my uncle, and now my grandfather. Say hello to the people. We're going to look at Lion King, a great story of fatherhood.
Für richtig hält's, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin.
What he said?
Dass ich gearbeitet habe. Good luck.
The Lion King, set in Africa, follows a king lion, imagine that, called Mufasa, voiced by James Earl Jones, with his young son Simba, voiced by Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who, believe it or not, was a pretty big deal in the 1990s.
You have no idea.
There's also an annoying Zazu, voiced by Rowan Atkinson, who's basically Simba's Jiminy Cricket, Timon and Pumbaa, voiced by Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella respectively, Simba's evil Uncle Scar, voiced by Jeremy Irons, some annoying hyenas, one of which is voiced by Whoopi Goldberg, and a wise Yoda-like baboon called Rafiki, voiced by Robert Guillaume. I have to say, an amazing lineup in this one.
Dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes.
Isn't it great?
Simba is next in line to become king, but Scar has other plans, causing his brother's death and blaming Simba, who flees the kingdom in shame and guilt, being discovered and raised by Timon and Pumbaa, growing up to become Matthew Broderick. Poor guy.
It'd be so weird.
Before being reunited with his childhood friend Nala, voiced by Moira Kelly, they end up a couple despite actually being cousins. Disney doesn't surprise me anymore. As she convinces Simba to return to the kingdom to fight Scar once and for all. The concept of the film actually came about in 1988 whilst on a plane to Europe to promote the Disney movie Oliver and Company. The vice president of Disney at the time loved the idea, and planning soon began, wanting to spend time on plot devices of aging, death, even politics, and their own personal life experiences. The original title was The King of the Beasts, and then King of the Jungle, but the first idea was vastly different. Originally, it was a war between lions and baboons, with Scar leading the latter, Rafiki being a cheetah, just like my ex.
We're really sorry.
And Timon and Pumbaa being Simba's childhood buddies, but Simba was also going to be lazy and a horrible character, just like my ex.
I'm very disappointed in you.
Originally, Scar wasn't even going to be related to Mufasa, and that was added later on. Many even dispute this and claim that they're not really related, despite the character clearly saying brother and uncle, but hey ho, people are dumb. But originally, just to give you an idea of how dark the original story was, when Nala discovers Simba as an adult, it was because Scar made a pass at her, and when she declined his advances, he sent her far, far away out of the kingdom. But it was dropped to avoid publicizing sexual harassment claims. Yeah, good call.
Gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab. Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich.
Jesus.
You don't know how much this will mean to everyone.
This was all changed, but after Thomas Schumacher finished up work on The Rescuers Down Under, he too joined the production in 1990. George Scribner from the aforementioned Oliver and Company was set to direct, alongside Roger Allers from Beauty and the Beast, but the two constantly clashed, leading to Scribner leaving the project after just 6 months. Rob Minkoff came on board with producer Don Hahn, who found the script unfocused, lacking a clear story, and decided he wanted to have it be based around leaving your childhood behind to face the harsh realities of the world. The story was then retweaked, and the title was also changed to the one we all know and love. This would be the first ever animated Disney film to be a completely original story rather than an already existing piece of work. Although the writers have admitted that they were inspired by the lives of Joseph and Moses, and even Shakespeare's Hamlet. Furthermore, there were also similarities to ancient Egyptian mythologies, especially the Assyrian myths. I won't bore you with all of the details, but go look it up, they're damn near identical. But to add to the list, it's also very similar to a little story in Western Africa of the Niger-Congo family called Sandiata. The main character is banished from his homeland after his father dies, before returning to battle the evil king. It's more than just a little similar, let's just say that.
Come on, will you cut it out?
Unfortunately, this also led to many controversies, as the film is also very similar to a 1960s Japanese anime called Jungle Emperor, or Kimba the White Lion. It was so similar, Matthew Broderick even believed that he was starring in an American remake of the story, since he was a big fan of the original. Roger Allers, however, denied ever seeing the show or knowing about the story.
No, I'm not so sure.
There were rumors over the years that the artists of Kimba were paid by Disney to keep quiet about the plagiarism, but Yoshihiro Shimizu, who created Kimba the White Lion, denied these claims entirely, but did admit that he refused to sue them because they were a small and weak company, so there would be no point going up against Disney, who are one of the biggest in the world. The script went through more rewrites over the months, with more comedy being added for Timon and Pumbaa, and the songs were written by Tim Rice, working together with the screenwriters. But this production took about backseat to Pocahontas. The animators focused more on that feature, believing that it would obviously be the more successful out of the two. Many animators found the story not very good, some even confessing that nobody would want to watch it. Good job, guys.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
In fact, the animation took so long, the famous Stampede sequence took 3 years to animate alone. And to ruin your childhoods more, the death scene was originally a lot longer and more intense. But after a few preview screenings, kids burst into tears uncontrollably, so they decided to tone it down a bit. Well, yeah, take it easy, man. Who upset you? Did you write this?
Meine Arbeit für Richtiges, ob du glaubst.
In fact, this is the only Disney animated film where the villain actually kills someone on screen. Usually they're all off, but this one cuts all of the nonsense and just goes all out, not giving a damn. Originally, Sean Connery was considered for the part of Mufasa, as was Timothy Dalton, and even Liam Neeson, who turned it down. Tim Curry, James Caan, Robert Duvall, Malcolm McDowell, and Ray Liotta were considered for the part of Scar. Weirdly, Cheech and Chong were also going to play Timon and Pumbaa, but their schedules conflicted and it couldn't be done. And Joe Pesci was even offered the part of Timon, but he too couldn't commit. The role of Zazu also came close to being given to Tim Brooke Taylor, Graham Garden, Bill Oddie, David Jason, Peter Cook, Dudley Moore, Spike Milligan, Ronnie Barker, Ronnie Corbett, and Vic Reeves. And the part of Sarabi was considered for Virginia McKenna, Helen Mirren, and Vanessa Redgrave. The Lion King was finally released on June the 15th, 1994 and earned a ridiculous $968.4 million worldwide, making it the 29th highest grossing film in history and the 7th highest grossing animated movie. In fact, it was the highest grossing animated film ever until 2010, when Toy Story 3 finally beat it. But it does still remain the highest grossing 2D animated movie in history, and was even the favorite animated film of movie legend Gregory Peck. The Lion King scooped up 2 Golden Globes for Best Original Score and Best Musical, as well as 2 Oscars for Best Original Score from Hans Zimmer and Best Original Song for which is impressive because Elton John, who wrote the number, attended a special advance screening for the picture, and it was completely removed from the film. It was even intended to be used as a duet between Timon and Pumbaa, but he lobbied hard for it to be put back in, won, and the Academy came along with his efforts. Also, Hans Zimmer was reluctant to sign on for a kids' film, but became so invested in the story he loved doing it, and would later call it one of the best moments of his entire career. This was also one of only 3 Disney films to win a Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture, along with Beauty and the Beast and Frozen. It picked up a Kids' Choice Award for Favorite Film that year, and Empire ranked it as the 319th greatest movie in history, Time listing it as #1 Best Animated. The American Film Institute picked it as the 4th best animated feature of all time, with the song
Hakuna Matata
as the 99th best song, and Channel 4 listed it as the 6th greatest family film in cinema history. In addition to the previously mentioned controversies, further issues arose when people believed that the word sex was spelled out in the sky. People even believing that it was a subliminal message to promote promiscuous sex. But, I mean, it was clearly an Easter egg, a nod at the special effects team. Like, that's an F. They claim it's an F, it's clearly an F. Get your mind out of the gutter! But the ridiculousness stretches even further when you discover that hyena biologists were so angry at the film's inaccurate depiction of the creatures that they actually sued Disney Studios for defamation of the character. Some people need to get laid.
dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe.
What he said.
It's awful, isn't it?
The Lion King is a great movie. In my mind, I do think it's held on a high pedestal that I don't fully agree with. I mean, I think the likes of Toy Story and Beauty and the Beast are better, but this doesn't dent this film's awesomeness. It really is spectacular. The animation is absolutely gorgeous, the musical numbers are mostly catchy, and the characters really come to life, especially Timon and Pumbaa. As a kid, they were my favourite part, and I'm probably not alone there. They are hilarious.
And it hurt that my friends never stood downwind. And oh, the shame! What a shame! What a change in my name!
I also really dig Scar as a bad guy. Everything he says is completely deadpan and serious, even when he's saying patronising and hilarious lines.
Hey, Uncle Scar, when I'm king, What'll that make you?
A monkey's uncle.
And yes, I will commend the sheer bravery of the picture. Not only does it have insanely dark visuals, but the death scene is so intense and emotional for a kid's film, it's unreal. Sure, Bambi's mum took a bullet in the face, but we never see her again. This film cuts all of that and just says, look at Mufasa's dead corpse. Look at it, kid, he's dead. How'd you like that, you little shit? It really does hit you in all of your feels. And though I think that other Disney films are a lot sadder, the music really helps, and it would bring a grown man on the verge of tears. This comes into play even further when Simba is finally reunited with his mother towards the end. It really is emotional and tugs at your heartstrings. The comedy is all around great and caters to everyone. I truly believe this movie would be hilarious to adults and children.
It's our motto.
What's the motto?
Nothing. What's the matter with you?
Simba is also really likable. As a kid, he does brag about becoming kid one day and rubs it in Scar's face like an arrogant little douche, but it's exactly what a kid would do. He doesn't mean anything by it, it's completely natural behaviour. The romance is also handled really well. They are adorable together, even if they share a chromosome. They build on the love, it's not thrown together randomly like a lot of other romances in Disney films. It's well done and you really care for their relationship. They also have a lot of inspirational pieces of dialogue that I think a lot of people forget about. For a kids' film, it does have some motivational moments.
Yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it.
When they finally show down, the direction complemented with the amazing animation is tremendous. The camera circles them as Scar accuses Simba of murdering his father, and it's so expertly done. It's masterful, as is the final fight. But why do the animals celebrate the birth of Simba? I mean, you know that he could eat all of you, right?
When we die, our bodies become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass. And so, we are all connected in the great circle of life.
What? No, lions will just eat them all. Your ridiculous explanation makes no sense. They're a buffet. They are dinner for you. Chow time. Nom nom. Why am I trying to find logic in a movie about talking lions? The hyenas are a complete rip-off of the vultures in the Jungle Book. They are literally the exact same characters, which in turn are a rip-off of the crows in Dumbo. I mean, they do it again later when Timon and Pumbaa teach Simba to eat bugs, ripping off the same film again. It's just unoriginal. In fact, how does Simba even grow to be so strong when he is literally shown only eating bugs all these years? He's a lion who requires certain foods for his primary diet. His fangs wouldn't be as sharp and he wouldn't nearly be as strong. In fact, how does he even take on Scar at the end? He's had no training, no history with hunting. He's been Hakuna Matataing it for years. Yet he comes back and manages to have a fair fight with Scar, who's been hunting all this time.
I thought I might lose you.
Oh no, I'm fine, but I don't like your chances. See you at the death scene! Why doesn't Scar just kill Simba instead of letting him run away and have the possibility of surviving? I mean, Scar's whole plan is to become king. If he eliminates Simba, he has a 100% chance of doing that. Letting him go, there's still a possibility in not becoming king. He just leaves it to the dumbass hyenas who he knows are completely useless. This is just a stupid move. He had no problems killing his brother, but draws the line at his nephew. And why does everybody just accept Scar's word that Simba is dead? I mean, he has Mufasa's body for evidence, but there's no proof of Simba dying. They just accept the word of this evil-looking lion and move on with their day.
Slimy yet satisfying.
Like my penis. I'm also not a big fan of Matthew Broderick taking over. I just don't think the guy can act, and his voice acting even sucks. As soon as Jonathan Taylor Thomas leaves, I care less about Simba. He can't even make an animated lion sound convincing. Okay, now that I think about it, that would be a difficult job. But shut up! How the hell does Rafiki know that Simba's alive? What, because he does voodoo? Because in that case, he should know that Scar killed Mufasa and should probably tell someone, but he never does. I think the film is great, but I do believe it's a tad overhyped. It's great, but best Disney film ever? I actually think it's quite forgettable at points. I mean, I went decades without rewatching Toy Story or Beauty and the Beast, and I still remembered so many characters and quotes. When I came back to revisit this, there were so many things I'd completely forgotten about. Mufasa dying was really the only memorable part for me, except Timon and Pumbaa, but that was because of their own spin-off show that followed more than this movie. It's great, but yeah, I do think it's slightly overrated.
An overrated movie. What an arrogant phrase. An overrated movie is all I have to say. I mean, it's decent, but we ain't kidding ourselves. It's not that good, you see. It's not Beauty and the Beast, an overrated movie.
But the film was such an insane hit, it followed with countless video games, stage adaptations, the aforementioned Timon and Pumbaa spin-off show, a sequel followed in 1998 which was okay, and then a prequel followed in 2004 called Lion King 1.5 based on Timon and Pumbaa meeting each other, and then the live-action remake which we'll get onto another time. But despite my problems with it and my thoughts that it is kind of overhyped, it's still easily in the top 10 best Disney films. There are better, but it's still a damn good movie. Funny, charming, emotional, and a historic film for all of the family to enjoy. So what do you reckon, Grandad? Should we go watch Lion King?
Für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe im Dienste meines Volkes. Gib du jetzt deine Stimme ab. Wenn ja,